This is a Gen 3 Striker, 1,500 gallon. If you ever want to know what the specs are on it or anything, there's a placard here that tells you all the weight and the serial number, the whole 9 yards. All right, we're gonna come down here. This is your air shoreline for this truck. It runs off the truck air. This is not intended or meant to air the tire up on the truck. You can run a small hand line. You can maybe blow something off a little bit, you know, small hand tool, nothing real big or serious. There is a manual valve that you can turn it off in the event that this blows line. You still have the truck. You can turn it off and it'll still work. It has a manual reel where you can manually reel it back up, or it has an indication. It tells you right there, air hose reel. The switch has to be on for this to have power. This is the reel for the extension cord that runs off the generator. It also has a manual reel as well. All right, any questions on that? All right, in this compartment, you have your cross lays, your primary and your secondary, just like we talked about a while ago when we were doing them. They have a 2-stage safety switch on them. They will go this way or this way, depending on how you lay them in the cross. With that being said, this is the other switch. This is the final switch. I tell every fireman, when you're doing this, you're going in there, you put the truck in pump, pull everything out and what you want, and then hit this button. As soon as you hit this button, it doesn't care what's there. If this switch is pulled, it's gonna give water to it, and it will fill it and accord it in there. That's why I always say, never hit this switch until this is all pulled out and you got it done what you want. All right, this is a throttle override. In the event you already got a line out and you already got water to it, so when you open up of it, it doesn't have a rush of water to it for the sensor, the flow sensor to read it. You push this button, it will override that sensor and it will allow the pump to kick on and make it push pressure. So that way it picks it back up, so that way you can still fight the fire again. So like if you're out here fighting a fire, you put the line down and the truck idles back down, and then you want to go back to it. When you open it up, it doesn't pick back up. Somebody can come over, hit this button and hold it for a little bit while you're shooting water, and the truck will pick up and take over. That's for the flow sensors to bypass it. All right, you have a drain right here. That drains the front side plumbing of the truck. Then you have a ball valve that opens and closes the discharge. It is color coordinated to what it is. There's a drain right up under it that drains this part of the discharge. This actuates the hose reel, which is this right here, your dry chem and your water. This is a dry chem switch. This is a blow down switch. This blow down is air from the truck to push water out of this line. It is not blow down for the dry chem system. Okay. That only puts air on this side of the ball valve into this hose reel to push water out of it. For winterization is what it's for, or just to get the water out of it, period, make it easier to roll back up. That's all that blow down's for. It's nothing to do with the dry chem. All right, on this dry chem switch, you can activate this system from here. This is a momentary switch. You can push and hold it, and then that light will light on solid. That means you're going to get product here. The vessel's gonna charge and you're gonna get product here. If you put it in maintenance mode, and I will show you how to do that here in a little while, and you flip this light and it's flashing, that means you have activated it, but you're not gonna get chemical here. You've activated the ball valve to open up so you can simulate it all working. But if you ever hit this switch when you think you got it in maintenance mode and it goes solid, you need to turn it off immediately, because you just put dry chem in charge of the system. Then you have to go through the process of blowing it all down. So just remember, blinking is maintenance. Solid, you're fighting a fire. All right, this is your hose reel. This is where you rewind it up at. It's turned off. You got to turn the key switch on to make it work. Without the key switch, it will not work. Up in the back behind there is a manual reel that you can attach to it to reel it up manually if it doesn't work this way. Right adjacent to that, right up above it, is your deluge filter or your deluge system. It's a screen, looks like a screen door in there. Got an O-ring, slides on it, slides off. It's very simple to clean out and everything. Just need to make sure if your deluge system is not working, you want to come here first. See if this is stopped up or not before you go any further. All right, this is part of your winterization. This is a heater block. It has temperature sensors. When it gets cold enough, it will push hot air into this compartment from here. All right, any other questions before y'all can stop me at any point in time if I'm going too fast or.
The drain that's for the front, what do you mean it's for the bumper? Or what?
No, front half of the truck.
Just front half of the truck?
Yeah, it drains, so it'll drain some of this piping right here that goes for these pre-connects and all that. It'll drain some of that.
Drains out of there.
Yeah, it's the lowest side on this.
So if we use the pre-connects, we want to drain it out after we're done?
You don't have to.
You don't have to?
It's all in if you want to winterize the truck or not.
Okay.
If you're going to winterize the truck, you're going to open up all the drains and shut all the compartments, and then the temperature controller is going to take effect and keep the box hot.
Okay.
Any other questions?
That's the only one I can think of.
All right. This right here is a metering system. This is going to meter the GPM flow of this truck. This ties into your econ system, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But I want you, since it's in this compartment, I want you to know exactly what it is. It's metering how many gallons per minute this truck is actually pumping. That's what that meter does. All right, in this system, in this box right here, you have your control panel. This is for all your ball valves on this truck. There is a list. It tells you exactly what they are. You can manually activate them. Like if I want to close the tank, you can push it up and you'll see that this ball valve is closing. That's tank to pump closing. So in the event of an emergency, you can come over here. If you can't get something to work electronically, you can manually open a turret and somebody manually put their foot on the pedal and fight the fire. Worst case scenario. All right, any questions on that? All right, right inside here is your metering valve system. It's a poppet system on this truck. Probably close to the similar, y'all have an E1, correct? Mm-hmm. It's gonna be close to similar, the same thing. It has a poppet, it's a cylinder with a rubber grommet on the bottom of it that when you hit air to it, it pops up and it allows old foam to go through the orifice, like these right here. That rubber grommet sits on top of this, lets nothing come through. Then when you ask for it, it pops it up and that allows that certain amount to come through there.
So with all these different foams, will it still work the same?
Supposed to, yes sir. Best of my knowledge.
I've heard a lot about viscosity on these different foams.
They're still working on that, I believe.
Okay.
I know that this truck uses water to do the no foam testing.
Okay.
So we can go ahead and get into that. What happens is when you put this truck in gear and everything and go through this, it tells you exactly what to do step by step. It will automatically open a ball valve and it'll induce water into the foam metering system. And then when it tells you to run, it's putting water in there mixed with the water that you're shooting out of your turret, and it's simulating the water as it would be foam going through the metering system. And there's another meter back here behind there, you can't see it, that looks kind of like this one right here. That meters how many gallons per minute of foam is coming through there as well.
To measure the percentage.
To get your percentage, that tells you what your truck's doing. And y'all have the Econ electronic proportional system on it. But that's how they calculate it on this truck.
Okay.
Some trucks have a electronic box here, and it's electronically metered. It has a meter instead of a poppet system. It has a meter on it to where when it's running up the GPM flow, it accounts for what flow you're doing, so it backs it off or gates it more to give more flow through there to make the percentage of foam that you want and that you have calculated on it, whether it's 6% or 3%, whatever you have your truck set at.
Okay.
This one's just a poppet system.
So if you have it set for 3% with that poppet system,
Yes, and this is your 6% plate right here.
Okay.
So, as you see, I just turned the key switch off, right?
Yeah.
All these brains talk up to 6 to 8 hours after that key switch is off to each other. It doesn't seem like it's doing nothing, but it's got power running all throughout the truck. That's why it's very vital. I don't know if y'all got it now, but y'all need to get a extension cord, and we're gonna go back here, and it needs to be plugged up at all times when it's not used. At all times. Because if you don't, it'll throw some haywire codes. It'll do all kinds of crazy stuff. All right, this is your pilot relief valve. Under no circumstances should you ever mess with this. You need to be on the telephone with somebody if you're gonna mess with this. But this increases and decreases your pressure, and this is a strainer to do your pilot relief valve. This is your main relief. This controls this, is what it's doing. And what it's doing is it's blocking off the water going back to the tank.
Okay.
So that's how it regulates the pressure. The amount of pressure I give here is how much water goes back in the tank and recirculates. To bring the pressure down or bring the pressure up. That's how the regulator works. Just so you understand that. This is a prime button. I don't know if y'all ever use that, but if y'all are helping a rural fire, you can pull an actual draft from a tank, a dump load. It would have to be a heck of a dump load to keep up with this truck. I mean, that top turret does a little bit over 750 gallons a minute. So I mean, it drained the tank. It drained this truck in about a minute and a half. That's 1,500 gallons. So I mean, you'd have to have a serious supply. Yeah, you'd have to have a pond or something if you want to do that. But y'all got to retrofit it that way. This is the manual metering valve. In the event that you think you're not getting foam the right way, or you want to get more foam, there is a chart when in doubt. You know what your GPM is for whatever turret it is, and for the foam, you put it on what the indicator tells you, and boom, you have that foam. This is an override to the poppet system.
So how do you activate it?
It's
As soon as you do that?
activated right there.
So you put it in the black to let the poppet work on its
Yes.
own? Okay.
And there's 2 poppets.
Okay, this is essentially like a ball valve. This is how I like to explain this. This is essentially like a ball valve. It is completely closed right now.
This is open.
So what you're doing it is you're opening it up a certain amount to let the orifice simulate for the gallons per minute. You'd have to coincide with your chart. So 800 gallons a minute. If you want 6% foam, you set it at 8.4. So you're gonna set it at 8.5, and that's 6% foam at 800 gallons a minute. If you did it that way. I mean, that's how the chart works.
Does that account for the poppet already being open or no?
That does not count for the poppet. That is if the poppet fails.
Okay, so the poppet will be closed.
All right, see, this is a chamber sitting in here. You have this plate, just like this one right here, sitting on the top side. You have all your poppets sitting on top of it. The foam comes in and sits over all this. When you activate the foam system and you want under trucks, it pops that poppet up, allows it to go down to the bottom, to go through the centrifugal force of it, and mix with the foam, the water, to do the foam blanket. If this does not happen, this is tied to the top side as well. So when you open this, it allows the water flow of foam to go from the top side to the bottom side, to go to your centrifugal, to mix with the water to create your blanket.
Okay.
This is just going around the
Poppet.
poppets.
Okay.
All right, understand?
Yeah.
All right. This is the drain for that foam system. This drains the foam proportional valve. This is another master drain for this part of the water part. All right, then you have your water fills. You can do it from here, or you can do it from here. These are hand drains to drain the piping here and here. Of course, you know how to do the draft. You can fill back in from the draft if you want to circulate. This is your main steamer if you want to come straight into the pump. So if you had somebody feeding you, you could pump it. I don't know if you'd have any kind of truck that would be able to stand up to this truck. You'd have to have a heck of a daggum pumper to be able to push enough to this to not let this cavitate. Because I mean, they'll do like 2,000 gallons a minute. I mean, the truck is governed and everything, so it won't do it. But I mean, you'd have to have a lot of water coming to it. All right, this is your pump suction. If you wanted to suck from somewhere, you can simulate that. You know, pull your draft, the whole 9 yards, just like you would with the structure truck. All right, this is the tank to pump close. This is a wet system. The E1, I believe, is a wet system as well. Rosenbauer's are not. But I just want you to be aware, this is a wet system. So there is water at all times to this pump. The only time it is not is when y'all have the pump to tank closed, or that valve that I just actuated is closed. When you're checking your truck, always make sure that it's turned this way. If it's turned the other way, you're not going to get no water to the pump. But it's set to be open all the time, to be a wet system. All right, you have your pump panel here. Of course, this turns it on. This is tank to pump close, where you can actually electronically tell that to close and open. This is your water, foam. Blue is always water, yellow is always foam. These are momentary switches. You can't just hit this and the foam be activated. You have to push and hold for about 3 seconds and then it comes on. Water the same way. That way you don't mess up by accident. Now, with that being said, you push this on 3 seconds, it comes off, you turn it right back off. There is a tattletale in there that will tell you or whoever's here that somebody did that. So then you had to clean the whole system out. So, but there is a tattletale on this truck that will tell you that, hey, foam's been engaged.
And nobody cleaned it.
Yeah, whether it's been a hot second or actually fought a fire, it's going to tell me. And I'll show y'all how to go through that process too. All right.
How to delete stuff?
Sir?
I said how to delete stuff?
Yeah, that's correct.
If you clean it out, it'll go away.
Yeah, you know it. All right, this is your pump. It has a labeling right here that tells you what it is, model number, the whole 9 yards, serial number. Right behind this foam trench fur pump is a sight glass. As long as it's in the middle of it or above it, you're good. But that is the oil indicator for the gearbox of the water pump. All right, this is your foam transfer pump. It is labeled to tell you how to do it and everything. When in doubt, if you have a problem or a question, there is a placard right here that tells you exactly how to do it. All right, this runs off the truck air. So the truck has to be running when you want to unload or load foam on this truck because it runs off the truck air. It's gonna runs off the truck air. See how it just popped it down? All right, this is a drain for the foam to load and unload that's tied into this pump here. Make sure this valve is always closed when you're not using it because gravity will take effect and it will come through that pump and it will come out. And if that cap is not tight, it will put foam all over the ground. It will do that. There is a flush button that opens up a water to put water in there to flush that system out. So that way the foam's not in there. You can
So
actually
you do that after you're done?
Yes, sir. There's a placard that tells you exactly how to do everything.
Okay.
When in doubt. Any questions about any of this?
I'm sure I will eventually, but it's a lot to
The
take.
engine compartment on this side. You have your DEF system. This is where your DEF goes in your tank. You have your steering reservoir. There's a sight glass that tells you how much is in it. There is an overflow tank for the engine. There should never be anything in there. The only time anything is in there is if somebody has put it in there or something is wrong with the engine. So if that little reservoir right there, it is not like a pickup truck.
I got you.
You do not put water in there or antifreeze in there and it suck it back out. That's an overflow reservoir. So if you overfill the engine, it will pump it into there. Or if something's wrong with the engine, it will pump it into there. Or if somebody puts it in there physically. Other than that, it should never be in there. A lot of people ask about that. All right. The top black tank is your reservoir for your antifreeze. There's a sight glass on this side. It's got the little tit sticking out. It's a sight glass. As long as it's in that sight glass halfway or better, you're good on your antifreeze. Over time, that will get stained and it will be hard to look at. You can replace that if you want to. If not, I'll show you on top of the truck where you can access it and pop the cap and look at it.
Is that where you fill it too?
Yes, sir. That's where we're gonna fill it at too, up top. All right. You have your transmission stick and your power divider stick right here. Right above here in this side, you have a push to prime, which would be for your fuel filters. Key switch has to be on for it to work. In between the wall and this steering reservoir, there is a silver handle. There is a label for it. It is a manual override. It will pull up and away from the wall. That is to manually engage the water pump. In the event that you cannot electronically engage it and you want it to engage, you can come back here and manually engage it. All right, you have a fuel filter here. Then you have a transmission charge filter, and your power divider filter is up here on this wall.
Now, does it tell you when you need to change that, or is that a mileage thing?
It is a mileage hour base. I recommend no more than once a year. Do it at least once a year. It's an emergency piece of equipment.
Yeah.
You want it to be top notch.
Okay.
That's what we do.
And in the event you were asking about what the oil was and all that, there's a placard on this wall right here. It'll tell you viscosity and what it's supposed to take in each reservoir. Right here on this side right here. All right, right here on this inside, there is a switch to turn the light on and off in this compartment. That is adjustable. You can bend it down, bend it up, or whatever. There's another switch in here. It's called an operator inhibit switch. When you turn it on, there's a yellow light that will, or amber light, whatever your eyes see, will illuminate. That disables this engine. So if y'all like to pick and play with people, you can engage this and you go up there, the truck won't do nothing. You'll think something's wrong with the truck. Come back here before you call me.
For me.
And make sure that it's not enabled. But if you want to work on the truck, that's how you disable it.
Why would I need to disable it to work on the truck?
If you're working inside here, all right, this is your engine PDP, main relay, and your transmission controller and your power divider controller. It's all right here. This is water resistant, not waterproof.
Different.
Very different. You can splash it with water. You can kind of hit it with a water hose, but do not spray it with a water hose holding on it. It is waterproof, water resistant, but not waterproof.
Like when we're washing the truck, we want to avoid.
You can get water on it, but just don't hold the water hose on it.
Yeah.
It's one of them kind of deals.